Richard Maloney before, and just over 4 years, 300 coaches in 80 countries. You want to talk about fast growing?
Well, it's so great to be back in the USA. I came to Houston, we made some great friends and some amazing memories as well. So I've only got a short hour with you today, but I need you to contribute with me. Are you going to come with me today, guys, just for 1 hour? Yes? 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 Anyway, have you all got this sheet on your table, please? We've got a lot to get through over the next hour. I really do have a lot of information I want to share with you. So there's going to be some real soul searching in this little 1 hour spot. You'll also need 3 markers. Doesn't matter what colour they are, you'll also need 3 markers. Okay. Have we had a great day, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, how good was Mark and the team? Just fantastic. And thank you to the guys with technology. Owe you one. All right, I'd like to start with this one question. What's the biggest issue facing business in the US tomorrow and today? What's the biggest issue? I want you to talk amongst your table and have a quick think about it. What's the biggest issue facing American business today and more so into the future? I'll give you 30 seconds. What's the biggest issue? What did we come up with? Just yell it out. What's the biggest issue do you think facing the US business tomorrow and today? Which one? Work ethic. Yes. Finding employees. Very good. What else? Attitude. Was it? Oh, you've come to the right conference. Excellent. Okay, the biggest issue facing American business today and worldwide is managing talent. Keeping and basically getting them to come to you, then keeping them, retaining them. That is the biggest issue in tomorrow's business. Because of the world we're living in today, not many young kids are actually going all the way through to university, and there's many other things in play. That is the biggest challenge in business today. Holding on to your people, your best talent, because your opposition will take them very quickly. So, what's the best way, what's the best activity to do that will maintain your retention of your talent? What's the best and most powerful thing to do when someone comes into your business? How are you going to, more or less, do the best to keep them happy there? Let's talk amongst your table. I'll give you 30 seconds. What could you do to make sure that your talent doesn't leave? What's the most powerful strategy? Go for it. Yes, sense of purpose and fulfillment. How do you create that quickly? Right on it, right on it. How do you create that quickly without you having to do it? You've got to create best friends within your workplace. You've got to, when people come to your workplace, you've got to force people to meet. You've got to force them, and I say force, I used to say strongly advise, but across the world, if you're really pushing people to make relationships, they're less likely to leave your business if they've got more best friends in your company. Makes sense, right? Well, if you've got a job offer on the table, it's an extra $5,000, $10,000, but I'm great with Jane, John and Mary. They might be disappointed if I leave, but if I only got best friends with Jane, then I might leave. And this is what it comes down to. How many best friend niches do you have in your business? Is everyone highly connected? Or is everyone just going through the motions? So you've got to connect people. So I love this strategy. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do this here today. And we did this in Houston, and hopefully it works, but we're going to have a little competition because this is an engagement seminar, yes? Okay, so I'm going to have a 60-second challenge here. That's all it takes. A little bit of courage. You're going to stand up in just a second, and I'm a sports coach, my background, and I have my trusty whistle. And you're going to go to someone you have never met before, and you're going to find out how many things you have in common. That's it. Just go to someone you haven't met before in just a second and find out how many things you have in common and count them. The person who is the tallest will count. And you're going to have a competition, and you're going to win the new Engage and Grow book here. Yes? Okay, so this is Marshall Goldsmith, Mark Thompson, Brad Sugars and myself have written the 6 steps to highly engaged employees. It hasn't even been released. How lucky are you? Lucky? Lucky, wow. Okay, so on the second whistle you'll start. Everybody up. Everybody up, meet someone for the first time. 3, 2, 1. All right, a round of applause. So, who had 10 or more connections? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21? 22 going once. Anyone 23? Twinkie winners down here, well done. Good job, brother, thank you. Okay, the world record is 45. That was in Istanbul, Turkey, and they didn't even know, they can't even speak English. So I think they went skin, eyes, eyebrows, you know, the basic stuff. Okay, so over the next 50 minutes, what you'll discover is I'm going to show you the true shocking cost of disengaged employees in your business. Now, when I heard this, I was shocked myself. Secondly, a new high-performance team model that you can use in your business effortlessly and easily. And 6 steps to, once you get your heat map of your high-performance model, how to get there very quickly with your team without too much fuss from you. Okay, so let's look at the levels of engagement. People come to the workplace, and there's 3 types of people. These people are actively disengaged. They come to work and they do less than is expected. Do we have many of them in your workplace? All right, what sort of behaviours do they do? What are their behaviours like? Late, yeah, rude, okay, those sort of things. The second type of person is they come to work and they're disengaged and they just do what is expected. Do we have any of them in the workplace? Right, and we've been there ourselves possibly too, right? So we know what it's like. And the next level is people that come to work and do more than is expected. Let's have a look at America today. So, how many do you think come to work in a percentage and do more than is expected? 25? 15? 31? You've actually increased 3% over the last year, which is a credit to you. You're actually leading the world because the global average is 15%. So, what sort of, is this working? Yeah. The key here is the 69%. So you've got 70% of the people in your business, generally speaking, are coming to work and just going through the motions or sabotaging. So when you put it in a boat, you've got 3 people rowing towards success. You've got 5 people actively just watching the scenery and a couple of people sinking the boat. Now, do you want to run a business where people are actually trying to actively sabotage your business? Or do we find out who they are? And that's what we do when you go on this process. So, what do you think, out of those 70%, what do you think you're wasting with their salary? What do you think? You're paying $50,000 a year. They're coming to work and they're just, yes, boss, no, boss. I'm late, yes, complaining, whatever it may be, just getting through the day. What do you think you're wasting? What percentage of their wage do you think you're wasting? Half? 50%? Great. 100? Yes. Well, according to Gallup, it's 34%. So when you have someone either disengaged or actively disengaged, which blew my mind, because there's a major issue out there around the world, 34%. So let's have a look at this. Let's look at the cost of this. So I want you to go to diagram 2 on your worksheet. And let's go here. Say, are you with me, guys? Cool. Let's say you've got a head count at the office of 25 employees. 69% are disengaged or actively disengaged. That equals 17 employees, $50,000 salary, average, 34% of cost of disengagement, according to Gallup, equals $17,000 per employee, times 17 equals a nice yacht. Well, you could buy a nice yacht for 300,000, couldn't you? I mean, we can't always have 100%, but you certainly want to work your way up there. So what about if you had 100 employees? 1.17. The game is changing. Businesses need to evolve now because your people are your biggest capital in this next day and age because they will get poached so easily. They are already. And the talent is the issue. So it costs you a lot less to focus on how to build talent, which is what I want to show you in a second. All right, what about when they leave? What does it cost to retain them? Okay, according to LinkedIn, 50% of an entry level, so someone comes to work, so I'll just go to the slide here. Bear with me. Okay, again, we're off the wrong computer here because it was on my Apple, so it's a little bit... So say you got 35,000 is the average salary for an entry employee and they leave your company. They're saying that 50% is a cost to you to replace them because you might get the wrong hire, you might have clients that disappear, it might be disengaged friends in the workplace, there could be a cancerous issue, you have to put that out like a fire, and it costs time and money, and they're saying on average that's what it costs to replace them. Now, if they're a technician, like a leader or a really smart person in technology, like they're hard to replace because they've got all the relationships over 20 to 30 years, is a significant cost. Now, these aren't my stats, which is alarming. But then we go towards companies with engagement, and it's obvious. So, yes, we know the facts. Rich, how do we get there? The first place we need to look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry to say this, is at ourselves. Because really what it comes down to with leadership, with engagement, is it's about your leaders. I mean, I'm around the world everywhere. I travel for a living keynoting. We've got programs running everywhere, and it always comes down to really getting a united leadership approach. It's the same with sport. I've worked at 7 elite clubs. If you don't have a united leadership approach, you're in trouble. So let's look at the 5 levels of leaders. The first type of leader comes to work and they're disliked manager. They actually don't know how to lead. They're usually, you could say, someone that's been advanced in their promotion that probably haven't deserved it, but it's the only person that could probably take that position quickly. Okay, they're not liked or respected. Okay, the next stage is a disrespected manager. So they're liked by people, but not highly respected. But they're still managing. They don't really understand the both management and leadership are 2 different arts. And then you get to manager, leader. Now the sun is starting to shine. Now they understand there's a role of leadership and there's a role of management. So they're really starting to get into maturity of leadership. And then they come up to a respected leader. That's the next stage where you actually have a little cult movement happening within a business. Okay, but the key is getting to the point of an accomplished leader. Now, to measure if you're an accomplished leader or not, this is quite simply the measuring stick. You need at least 3 people from your workplace or from around the community that have asked you to be mentored by you. If you have people saying, Rich, I really like what you're doing, your actions are really authentic, you're aligned, your true north, your passion, your why, can you mentor me? At least 1, but I'm saying 3. A year. When you get to that stage, in my opinion, you've really gone to mastering leadership. Can you see what I mean? Okay, have a think about this. Where are you at? How important is leadership? What's the number 1 role of a leader? Yes, lead, yes. What else? Develop, yes. Well, you know, Ross. Is to create more leaders. The number 1 role of a leader is to create more of you. And if you're doing that, you're servicing your contract on this planet because you've got this special talent which has been earned and obviously inbuilt, because I think it's both, but you really are then impacting community in the best way possible. Because have a look at our world. Why do we have so few leaders? Why do we have so few leaders, authentic leaders? Because it's difficult to lead. You get knocked down, especially in Australia. We've got tall poppy syndrome. And you have to work more hours maybe. and then you have to be away from the family. So leadership, the word, can sometimes be impactful. Right, so your job is to get into the green. If you're really serious about your role on this planet, and it's more than your workplace, it's how you want to leave your legacy, this is taking really seriously. And I know you're all, you wouldn't be here if you're not leaders. In fact, leadership's a rubbish word to some degree. It's about acting authentically and being proactive. If you're proactive and acting authentically, you're a leader. And then when you get to the top position, you just need a vision. And a bought-in vision. Am I making sense? Yes? Okay. As I said, I've got a lot I want to share with you. So, once you know where your leadership is, then you go in and study your people, but you don't have time for that. And so, to give you this, when I blew up my elite sporting career, I fell in love with the brain. I found my passion. And it was really understanding why I blew up my career. And then I went into this world of psychology, leadership, culture, in government, corporate and SME. But to get people to move was the tough thing. So, neurological motivators: pain, pleasure, reward, punishment, self-direction, self-improvement, and transcendent purpose, which is for the greater good. Core human needs: love, variety, so forth, and then understanding how we learn the quickest. Now, if you can implant those into your business, you are winning. But it's very hard sometimes to figure out how people are motivated and their core needs, because we live in such a fast world. And so, how do you do it? And I want to show you how to do it. But the thing is, company training today, ladies and gentlemen, is old and traditional. When it comes to enablement of skills, definitely good. But when it comes to building leaders, building culture, building engagement, it has to be a process. You can go to a leadership school if you want, but that leader comes back into the workplace and they get no support sometimes. And so they have to really grind away and try and change the culture by themselves. So you need to do it all in your workplace in the working hour, and you create so many more leaders because most of your people are simply asleep. Asleep at the wheel. One, because they're not living their passion, okay, and two, because of maybe relationships, their direction, promotion, whatever it may be. So we break the company into two areas, and I'm going to come back to that, but just give you our model. There's the heart and brain of a business, okay? The brain of the business is your processes, your systems, your products, your services, and the heart of the business is your behaviours, your leadership, your culture. The heart of the business, the soft stuff, which is connection, communication, acting by an example, and so forth. And so what we want to do is focus purely on the heart of the business initially, all the time. And this is where the world's going. Have a look at the Googles, the Amazons, they're all doing this. But when it comes to small business, it's like, oh, how do I really pull a bit more out of my people? It's not about that. It's about you've got to activate the mind. And there's so much more in there. There's so much more in there. So I'll show you how. But the key thing here is, and I presented this in Houston, is if you focus on the heart of your business, they're saying now that the companies that do this are 8 times more successful over a 10-year period. That is significant. 8 times more successful over a 10-year period. And this is a study they do every year with 200,000 businesses. And they're all people first, profit second. They're all heart-centric leaders. So if we knew that 10 years ago, would we maybe change our strategy? Possibly. And this is why I'm saying there's a big shift coming, and especially around the world. So now I want to talk to you about how to create that. We've got the why, we've got the what, now let's go to the how. Grab your 3 pens, your 3 different markers, pull over your performance sheet. And I want to show you how to create a highly engaged, high-performance team within your workplace, even if you're in every industry. Okay, the 3 core pillars to a high-performance team is you've got to have a heartbeat. Leadership. Okay, you've got to have leadership. Solid, united leadership. You've got to have great skill sets. Great skill sets. And you've got to have a strong culture. They're your 3 pillars. Strong leadership, strong culture, and really good enablement of skills. That's what I'm saying. Training is still useful. Okay, now what happens is when you get strong leadership and you create an environment that is always with strong skill sets, you create excellence. So people come to your business, they sense the leadership, they know people are of the highest caliber with their technical knowledge, their industry knowledge, so forth. Then, with culture and skill sets, when you have a great culture with strong skill sets, you get high levels of productivity. And lastly, when culture and leadership are in alignment, you get loyalty. Right, now we bring out our 3 pens. Can we do a bit of a health check on our own business, just quietly, on your own teams? Could be any team you want, but have a bit of a helicopter view on that team. Picture that team now. It could be your leadership team, it could be your sales team, whatever. To create strong leadership and to create this high performance environment, everyone needs to have a strong vision, and they need to understand your behaviours and values. Does everyone know your vision? How often do you tell them? How often do you ask what their vision is? Next is leadership development. Right, so how are you creating more leaders? Because the role of a leader is to create more leaders. Now, remember, with your pens, I want you to then put green around that, or whatever you've got. Pick 3 different colours for 3 different measurements. Green is going great, yellow is needs work, red is poor. So you can give it a bit of a heat map along the way. How good are you with vision and values and so forth? Recognition. How good are you at recognition? Every week, every day, every month. Are you going great, need work, poor? Skill set. Skills and development. That's obvious. How well are your guys and girls getting trained up with the latest skills? All the time? Occasionally. Feedback. How often are you getting feedback on how to improve the skills, how to improve the basics of technology? Benchmarking. How often are you benchmarking against your competitors, against the industry best? How often are you getting your employees actually to go out there and benchmark and bring back the information to teach the team? Again, okay, culture. Trust and open communication. Do you excel at that with your business? Is there open transparency? Or is it, there's some groups that are really cliquey, or maybe there's a distinct difference between your leaders and your middle management? Accountability. How accountable is everyone to be on meetings on time, deliver on time? Or the opposite. It could be poor. And lastly, solution focused. So when something goes wrong, are they coming back with a solution, or are they saying, hey, Rich, we've got an issue, what do we have to do? I mean, it shouldn't be your responsibility. Yes, you need to guide the ship, but are they solution focused? So have a look at your heat map and see what came out. That's an example. Reds, yellows, greens. Right, so you got that? Is that interesting? Is it confronting? Right, all we're doing, right, we're always here to improve, so don't take yourself too seriously, but take yourself seriously. Because you are a leader. We need you. The world needs you. Good leaders, that is. Great leaders. Okay, let's move to how to get there quickly. 6 steps. You need to do a quick... How many people here do a quick health check? This is now more, not so much for your workbook. This is now just information. How many people here do a health check with their business on how many people really are emotionally connected to their business? How many people would be scared of doing that? Right. I don't want to hear it. Okay, so this is the way to do it. We have 9 questions we ask. I've got 3 here just to show you. Get access to these. But basically, these are the basic questions. It takes 60 seconds to do, and I'd highly recommend you do this every 6 months with all your teams so you can keep them on track. And so I'm really enthusiastic about the mission of the company. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. At work, I clearly understand what is expected of me. Now, you've got an issue there. You've got a click. Something's happened, right? How do we fix that? In my team, I'm surrounded by people who share my values. Do you think they're engaged? There would be some issue holding them back from really flourishing. And we want to get to that issue really quickly. Okay, so you always should be doing this Health check, ladies and gentlemen, please take this on board. You should always be doing a health check every 6 months because you'll lose your talent. Possibly lose your talent. All right, moving up, buy-in. Question for you. Get your team together, or you can do this now, and actually do this now so we can have a see what comes up with. What needs to improve in your company if you were to be number one in the industry? What needs to improve in your company if you were to be number one in the industry? Let's go. Have a look. Go down and have a quick look at your business. Write down what you need to write down. I'll give you 30 seconds. What needs to improve in your company if you were to be number one in the industry? Have a look at your list. Now, dissect them into, are they heart or brain? Put a B next to the ones that are brain. Put a H or a heartbeat next to the ones that are heart. Have a look at your list and go through and see how many are heart and brain. So, brain is process, systems, products. Heart, relationships, culture, communication. Have a quick look. And this is how we get people to buy in. So you'll do this with your team. You should do this with your team. Often. Maybe every 6 months. So the key is then measure them. Measure them on acting out the heart of your business. And what I mean by this is, if you don't measure, you lose treasure. You've got to measure everything. You've got to measure if they're working on the heart of your business. So for instance, you see Jackie here, week 1 through to week 12. You can do this for as many weeks as you like, but the human brain needs an end date. So you create momentum, so you can't burn people out. So you're going to say to them, okay, we've come up with all our areas of improvement. What can we all do next week to activate one heart area that we said we want to improve for the success of our business? And go and stretch their thinking and creativity and imagination. And at the start, they'll go, oh, what are you talking about? I've got to think proactively. Like, that's what happens. You stretch their brain. And they all look around going, what's he talking about? And this is what happens to start with. But after a few weeks, we hold them accountable. So week 1, we can tell who's disengaged or who's just lazy or who's not proactive. And you start seeing patterns in people. So this is done weekly. Again, you need to find out who are actively disengaged. You need to find it out. Don't put your head in the sand, please, because you'll be back here in 12 months' time with the same problems. So then you just get them to focus on the heart issues as long as you can. Ideally for 10 weeks. Only focus on heart. Only focus. What happens is, if people don't care about your business, they're not going to improve the processes and services and products to the best way, the best ability. They won't. They'll go, oh, let me just fix the brain of the business. I need to fix the system. They'll just do it like this. But if the heart's worked on first, you've got the energy in the company again, and then they go up there and they've actually got more desire to do it. Believe me, it happens everywhere, all the time. But you've got to push them past that little breakthrough time. And so you need to go to them each week and say, how are you going with your leadership or your success act? I go, oh, I haven't really thought of it this week. I said, why not? Come on. So that's what your role is just to sort of say, come on, we're changing our strategy. We're changing our focus, but you need to lead first by showing the heart, giving the heart, and then you'll get the heart back. Let's go to Unite. So who's going to do that with their team? Just go and ask them what needs to improve. Literally that easy, and then break it into heart and brain. Guys, who's going to do that? Good work. It's so easy. But when they start understanding that the brain and the heart are different, right, then you get them really laser focused on what's the most important aspect of your business, because 8 times more successful over a 10-year period. And people have the ability to go there, and they will go there because they're just not activated yet. That's how I made this program, because I was in sports teams and all we did was raise everyone's productivity by 10 to 30%. We won championships easily. Because when the pressure goes on, we just stood up. And all we did was just connect through the heart, getting people to care about each other, just like your family. All right, the next way, uniting. Now, I know I was speaking to some of you yesterday about you doing this now, because there's a lot of you doing this, which is great, just sharing stories. You know, when you're a baby, all you got was a story. I've got 3 young girls. That's my wife, Kristen, my twin girls, Charlotte and Georgia, with my wife and Amelia. And so sharing stories is a major breakthrough gameplay. It really is. Like, for instance, and this is when I first started my business some 6 years ago, really started the business or the formation of it. I, like any business owner, I really battled. And whatever builds quick falls quick. And I didn't know that. I thought, it's just going to go. We've had that, right? Right. And so I went on this process of major angst. At the same time, my wife, we'd just been married 2 years, wanted to build a family. And we got the terrible news, and this is the first time I've ever shared this on stage. We got the terrible news that after 7 cycles of IVF, we couldn't have kids. It was like devastating because she had an egg count, and I don't know if you know about that, but she went and checked herself. She wrote the guy a letter saying, "You said I was fine, now I'm empty, what do I do?" After 7 cycles, so the financial money coming out of our pockets was extreme because I was making no money. And so anyway, we decided to thank God for American Medical. We decided to fly to San Diego, where there's fertility treatment there, and have an egg donor. And we picked an egg donor. Again, it cost nearly $100,000 for the process because they were the best here in the world, and it didn't work. And so my wife was just absolutely despair, and I'm not sleeping at night. I'm like, and then what happened was we lost our house. We had to move into this, like we called it the asylum. It was like a shop top on top of a shop, and it had no running water. It had electricity, but no heater. And so we lived right on a railway station too. So the trains were coming through. But what happened was the railway company decided to make railway repairs for the next 4 months between 11 at night and 4 in the morning. To top it off, every morning and every night, my wife, because she had to get treatment, I had to pull out a syringe, a big fat syringe, and suck oil out of this canister and then put it into another small canister so I could get it into her skin, and I'd have to inject her morning and night in the back of her here. And it got to the point where she was black and blue. Because if I hit it, I'm not a doctor. What the hell am I doing this for? But you do anything you can, right, for your dreams. Absolutely anything. And so we're not sleeping, we're fighting, we're just getting through, we're borrowing money from the family, we're flying back to San Diego. It was chaos. And anyway, the end goal was we got our first little girl, okay, and we had a bunch of IVF, or the second donor worked, right? The second egg donor. We got a bunch of eggs. In actual fact, these girls are triplets because they're all from the same egg batch at different times. Yeah. But the reward was amazing. I mean, how many parents are here? Like, damn hard, right? But the reward was amazing. And what we really learnt at that time, when we reflect on it, is you forget the hard times. You sort of forget how hard things were, right? But we went deep into this. We came out of it. We are rock solid. Our partnership is firm. We are best of mates, and we've got 3 beautiful kids, right? So my wife is she's writing a book about it now. That's how epic the story was, okay? But the key here was we went into adversity, we came out shining, and these are the types of stories you need to share in your business about you, and everyone needs to do this. Can you feel the power of that happening all the time? Who's already doing stories regularly in their company? Well done, team. Every week. Every week. And we always sort of keep it really on track with 2 types of stories. We've got a problem here. Sergeant, let's go. Here we go. So adversity that turned into a positive, and you need to come out with the positive. We don't want to be a victim, right? We don't want the poor me thing coming out. We want how I recovered from that, and this is how I'm going. Really important that you coach this. Otherwise, you're just going to have a violin coming out. Okay? Secondly, is someone, because if they don't want to talk about themselves, then get them to talk about someone they admire and why within their family and friends. This is really simple, really easy, should be done every week. Again, what's happening here? You're learning to live in someone else's shoes for 10 minutes a week. And when that happens, you build trust, you build communication, you get things done a lot quicker because I now know you, I like you, I feel for you, I'm going to work harder for you. Simple stuff. Everything I'm going to teach you today is so simple. I can't believe how simple it is, but it's all about you taking the lead. All right, the next one, reward and recognition. Every week, someone has to nominate someone within the business on why they are being nominated. So reward and recognition goes to Bruce, because Bruce did this. So simple. Do it every week, team meetings, or every fortnight, and then keep a measurement on it. Who's getting rewarded, who isn't? It works on the neurological motivators. If you haven't been rewarded for 4 weeks straight, do you think you might act a little bit more authentically and try and get rewarded? Because on the scale of things, you don't have any nominations. That could feel a little bit embarrassing. That means you are motivated by pain. That's how people are motivated. You with me? Are you with me, team? All right. That's the last session. I know you're just hanging in there, aren't you? So am I. Okay, alignment. Now, have you ever had an argument with someone in the business? Oh, you're not that perfect. Have you ever had an argument with someone in the business? All right, how did you fix it? Great. Now, how do other people fix it? Fire them. See, what happens is people won't sometimes go and fix their problems, right? We've got to do it for them. So when an argument or a disagreement that's some level of emotion, that will stay within your business unless you do something about it, if they're not mature enough to look after it. So we call it splinters in the foot of a business. So all the time, you've got to get the splinters out of the feet of your business all the time, because you'll get an infected foot. And when that happens, silo mentality comes in play, breakdown between leadership and middle management, and so on and so forth. Disengagement. So you've got to clean out the business all the time. And so how do you do it? We call it round table. So you don't do this straight away. And I'd always advise you have a coach with you, because this can't come in. Remember, we're walking up the 6 steps here. We started with evaluate, buy-in, and so forth. So don't do this straight away. You can if you've got a mature group. But you've got to set this up really well, because if you set it up well, it becomes normal. And how often do millennials like feedback? Weekly. Okay? How much would they love to give feedback to their boss and peers? All the time. Do we allow that? No. So it used to be the one-on-one annual feedback session. Now it's gone to probably once a month to the boss. But what we do now is we have everyone giving it to everyone. But you've got to get the group mature enough to manage this. And so 1 week, it'll be, what's your name, sir? John. So 1 week, it's John this week. Okay, and everyone's going to come with one area John needs to improve on for the success of the team, one area he needs to improve on for the success of the team. That's it. That's so simple. And everyone goes around and gives John that feedback, but not in large groups, in small groups. You can have up to 12-ish, and then you do it a bit differently. And so then John so there's rules to this. See feedback as a gift, John. John, this is a gift. We're going to give you a gift. And when people start seeing feedback as a gift, it becomes part of your culture, okay? They then will expect it and give it much more readily. No talking or laughing during the feedback. Anyone. John's the main man. No talking or laughing. And just be very adamant with that. If someone starts, excuse me. So you've got to really control this environment, because I've never had it go on weird once, because you've got to set it up properly. No right of reply till the end. John might try and ask a question during hand. Shut down. John, this is not the time. Everyone has to go around. So it's a very safe environment, because guess who's going next week? Another person, or the next fortnight, whenever you choose to do it. And they know it's a safe zone. And they're not going to go home and get too concerned. What's your body language, John? Ask for clarification at the end. John, is there anything you're not sure about? No, carry on, and then give them a coaching session afterwards. This is by far the most powerful thing you can ever do. Ask the people running the programs now. It cleans out the air of anxiety. If you've got anxiety in your business, that just turns into sometimes panic attacks in the body of the business, so things don't float. Again, you've got to set it up like it's a gift. Okay, guys, it's gift-giving time, and they take a piss a little bit, they have a laugh, and so forth. All right, does that make sense? Can you see the power of that? I'm going to show you some case studies in just a minute. We're going to hear from one of our coaches as well, who's just recently done this with a company. Okay, let's move forward, because I'm on time constraints. Now, we've got values, right? 14 points usually. Great. With your teams, use behaviours. Values are great, that's fine, but with your teams, get them to do behaviours, and behaviours are verbs. They're doing words. Values are more nouns. That's what we want to achieve, but how do we get them? Through these behaviours. So the behaviours get you to the value. Because if your people know your values, but they can't measure themselves on it every day in the workplace, they get confused and they're not buying into the value. So again, I do this every 3 months, go and sit the team around and say, okay, what are our behaviours? What do we want to agree to? Get them to come up with it. Because if they don't deliver it, you can say, well, you came up with the behaviours. Shall we all change the behaviours team? So you don't have to put the pressure on these people, the group put the pressure on them. There's a big distinct difference, a little shift. Go from values to verbs, doing words, behaviours, so you can measure yourself. This is a company called Serpisa. I just want to give you some case studies now on these sorts of work. And they're in the E&G book. So this is a company, a meat product and import commercial company. And what they were doing is they... after several years of... The reason why I'm doing this is because you may feel that some of these stories relate to your business and you can grab something from it. So they're having several partner issues in the company, so they recognised they needed to get rid of all the partners and just create one. Big, big change. So they started working on the heart of the business. And so what they really wanted to focus on was loyalty, commitment, compliance, increase of sales. Because when people are caring, they're more likely to look after their clients. Anyway, the two key things that they said was the dramatic shift, and because we do a survey before, the quick health check, and 8% were actively disengaged, 41 disengaged and so forth, and it went to 100% through open heart work on the business. And they just basically said the stories and the roundtable feedback was significant. That's everyone now rowing the boat. Everyone's rowing the boat. And guess what? You hardly did anything. You hardly did anything. You just got them to get creative. You got them to figure out the heart areas of the business you want to work on. Get them to share stories. Get them to figure out their behaviours. Get them to reward and recognise everyone. You're not doing anything. That's what I mean by motivational activation. Right, this is a Eurocar. Now, this is a store in Eurocar. Again, they were having major retention issues. They did an engagement survey. So pretty much everyone was just going through the motions. The big key message out of this one was, at week 3, we started sharing stories segment. The emotion was very high and truly started to change the environment, tearing down silos. Week 7, through the different engagement keys, the team started to realise how little they knew about what was going on at other levels of leadership in the company. Again, this was a major breakthrough in the breakdown of silos. And at the end of the program, they moved up to that. So it's, again, moving people through the motions of disengagement. And we're going to actually speak to one of our coaches here. Where are you, Marsha? Marsha? Come up to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please give a resounding welcome to this beautiful lady, Marsha? Come on. Royal treatment for this lady. She's an inspiration. In fact, she just won our Inspirational Coach of the Year Global Awards. Let's hear it from Marsha. I'm going to interview you. I love this lady. Jamaica?
Yes, it is.
And you get the clients and team here. Well done. So what were the issues facing this company?
All right. So they wanted to increase their communication at the leadership level. So they were listed on the stock exchange for around 11 months. Mm-hmm. And they contacted me as an action coach first to help them to work on the vision, mission, the brain side of the business. It was 6 months into coaching them that I recognized that we were not going to get anywhere unless I worked on the heart. Yeah. And so because I'm both an Engage and Grow coach, I then went into the Engage and Grow program. So the issues we had and what they wanted to resolve was to improve the level of communication at the leadership level, to improve the accountability and productivity, because now they're listed on the exchange, they're accountable to shareholders.
Yeah.
And to also increase their sales and profitability. So those were the 3 areas we needed to work on.
And what were the engagement keys that really activated that?
Okay, so the things that they really, really loved were the sharing of the stories. I posted on Facebook once on our group, and I just did it coming straight out of one of the programs, and I just said, I love running this program. It's amazing to see what happens when people become friends, when people really see who their team members are. So the sharing of stories about who inspired me and about some adversity, people began to see each other in ways they didn't know. The other thing was the facilitators challenge, where they had to find out about team members. So people were saying, why is this person suddenly wanting to ask me questions about myself? I've known you for 10 years. You've never even had lunch with me. And so it really became something where, as Richard said, you have to start developing best friends. And then the other thing was the round table. That's extremely powerful, that act of giving feedback. And it was very brave of persons. It's a very, very hard thing to do, to receive feedback to your face. But they did, they embraced it, and we worked together on their roundtables.
A bit
and
nervous week 1?
It was great.
Were they a bit nervous week 1?
Oh, yes, they were. And then by week 6, they were much better.
And that's the result. Well done, Marsha. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling. Again, this stuff takes away the challenge from the business owner. You guys should be rewarded for actually starting the business, for leading the business. But are we time rich or time poor? All right, going into the last segment here, grow. So there's many, many multiples here. Getting your staff to present best practice. Oh. Okay, I've covered a few of these. These are just activities you can do. Oh, one back? Oh, yeah, sorry. Australian lingo. Just say mate. Yeah, mate. Hey, g'day, mate. I'm from Melbourne. All right. So, look, these are all in the book. You can grab that. It's not available yet, but you can get a pre-sale. But anyway, let me run it through quickly. Collective accountability is the buy-in. Collective behavioural benchmarking is going to behaviours. Peer reward and recognition I've discussed. Getting your team to go and find out what's innovative out there, which is presenting best practice. Get them learning, get them developing. Shared stories we've discussed. Growth of individual behaviours, which is round tables. Then give them personalised coaching so you really care. And talk to them about their why. You know, there's a template for that. How are you creating an emerging leader pipeline? It needs to be in. Sharing the chairperson. Stop, you don't have to chair the meetings. There's no point. Educate people to be leaders. If you've got customer challenges, I saw this recently on the Action Coach Facebook page. If you've got customer challenges, is get the staff together to go and interview your clients. They'll break you'll have to break their thinking a bit, but this is what the best are doing. So we're going to go now and find out what our clients like about us. Go and do it. It's amazing what comes back. Instead, the leader or an outsourced company to do it, and you're getting them to understand the clients, build relationships again. And internally, like the 60-second challenge. Unearth creative thinking and social responsibility. All right, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, before I show you a little video, there's 3 types of people in your business. When someone comes to your business, they are looking for leadership. They're looking to find out how things are done around here. And if everyone's doing shortcuts, guess what happens? Shortcuts, and they turn into me people. They're all about themselves. They're disengaged. They don't see your vision, feel your vision. But then you've got to get them into we. That's as simple as it gets. How many me people do you have in your business? How many we people do you have? Actually should be a surprising little data for you to do that. Who's we and who's me? Because our role is to create we. Okay, so I've got a little video here. So that book I've showed you here, okay, that's not out, but we've got this gift for you to take with you from here on in. It's free from Marshall Goldsmith, Mark Thompson and Brad myself, we got into in writing this book, we put it all on video. Okay, so we've got 10 chapters on video of how to create highly happy employees. And so this is just a 1-minute snapshot of it, but it's available to you online for free. Okay, as our gift to you, of us giving back, you can listen, watch, and you get a certificate at the end saying you've done an employee engagement certification. Give it to all your employees. Give them some gold. Okay, here's a little snapshot. All right, so Marshall is a renowned global leader on this subject, and so we're so lucky to have him involved. Who would like access to that? Okay, that's great. Grab your cameras and just take a photo of that, because at the bottom is the URL, and use the code RM1 when you get there and you have free access. As my gift to you. It was a lot of fun. You'll find it fun. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess in closing, you've been a great audience, and I've been having the best time up here just to connect with you again, but I take this seriously because for the last 43 years, that's how old I am today, the last 20 of that, I've really dived into this, and I have seen in a dramatic shift. And what's most important is you're all parents. Our kids need to come to a world that's engaged, that they come and get developed. They really come to a leadership or development place environment where they are actually living, activating, and enjoying their life. That's what I want to do with my daughters. I hope you want to do that with your kids. The answer's with you because you are the leader. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.